We inserted, and the first day we moved, of course, hardly had any water. The biggest thing I remember about Vietnam was we never had water. We drank some of the worst stuff I've ever seen. I think some of the guys got, hepatitis, and other people, I'm probably got something crawling around in me now that I don't know, some Martian stuff. But on the third day, we went out, and all of a sudden it sounded like a rifle range opening fire. They told us to be ready to turn around. So we were at the trail, and my squad leader says, "Acebes, take the point." And then he took off. He was actually in front of me. We took off running, and they weren't telling us anything. Next thing I know, we run into this creek bed, and you could hear, I mean, it was explosions and shooting and everything going on all around us and everything. And he told us, deploy. So, well, these bullets were going every which way. I found me a big tree. They had teak trees there, and that's what I found. I got behind a teak tree, but it had fallen, so it was kind of rotted. I didn't know that. All I had cover. And it was really a bad day. It's one of those days that you never forget, guys yelling for medics. Matter of fact, I lost my first lieutenant. He only lasted about less than a minute into the fight. I lost, I didn't have a watch or anything, so I lost track of time. And after it was over with, we were still leery. We didn't know where they were at, how many of them there were. Squad leader came and got me, because supposedly my fire team leader had gotten hit, and we were moving all the casualties. We didn't have a landing zone, so we're trying to cut them down with machetes. These big teak trees, 200 feet tall and about 30 feet around, with machetes, and that didn't work. So they dropped in chainsaws. Air Force helicopter, I could tell it was silver. It was hovering over, dropping net down with chainsaws. Then they came in with demolitions, and they blew down some of the trees. The net came down, and I was on detail being the new private. We were loading some of the wounded, most seriously wounded guys, and they were moaning and screaming. You didn't know how to grab them because I wasn't a medic and I hadn't done it before. So we put them on, and then they lifted them out, and then they told us to go back in the perimeter. There won't be any more helicopters that night because it rained. They told us to put up ponchos to get some water. We didn't have any water, and I was so doggone thirsty. Well, ponchos we'd been carrying still had the blood on them. But for some reason, it didn't bother me at that time. I needed water. I still taste that blood to this day.